There are words a woman loses, and there are other words that stay fixed deep inside her body and her memory. It does not matter how much hard work you put in, how much you provide, or how nicely you treat her. If you fail to wake her desire on a symbolic and deep level, you will become the nice man she barely thinks about. Because inside a woman's mind, the right nickname is never just a silly game. It is a doorway into her subconscious, a sign of belonging, an emotional mark that quietly makes her feel claimed without her fully knowing it. Today, I am going to show the 5 forbidden nicknames, the ones that make a woman obsess, make her chase, respect you, and even fear losing you. The last one is so strong that, if you use it before you are ready, she will never truly let you go. I am Celia, and this is your House of Wisdom. Stay with this message until the end, and learn how to call her something no man before you had the guts to use. Have you ever asked yourself why she barely remembers you, even though you were the kindest, most loyal, most available man in her life? Maybe you cared for her, supported her, goals, defended her name, showed up when she needed you, and still you faded from her memory. That is because desire does not live where effort alone exists. Desire stays where identity was made, and a man who does not know how to name does not truly know how to lead. Right now, at this very second, we are talking about the nickname that places her inside your world, not inside her ego. When a woman meets you, she watches you quietly, not by your promises, not by your compliments, but by how you label her. If you use the same old pet names her exes used, those common words like babe, honey, baby, or princess, you have already lost. You are not making anything new in her mind. You are simply standing in recycled emotional space. But when you name her with a word that does not come from softness, but from strength, her subconscious reacts in a different way. It feels a shift. It senses that you are not here to follow her story. You are here to write your own story. And if she wants to be part of it, she will have to step into your world and learn your language, not the other way around. Imagine this moment clearly. She is talking to you about her day, her thoughts, her wins, her trailblazers. In the middle of it all, you look at her calmly and say, "Little savage, you do not explain, you do not defend it, you simply say it and continue the talk as if nothing happened." Inside her mind, something starts to move. She begins asking herself questions she cannot answer. Why did he call me that? What did he see in me? What feeling pushed him to say it? What does that word mean to him? That nickname pulls her out of her own story and places her inside yours. And most importantly, it shakes her. Women do not obsess over what they fully understand. They obsess over what they cannot easily define. Most men make the mistake of using nicknames to please, to sound romantic, to be liked. They do not understand that a nickname is a symbolic act of leadership. When you name her, you are saying, "I bring you into my world." You are saying you are not just anyone. You are saying you are mine on my terms. And if that name does not come from your inner strength, your grounded center, your masculine truth, she will feel it instantly. She will sense the weakness. She will throw away the word and eventually throw away you because she is not looking for sweetness. She is looking for dire and power. Before you search for the perfect nickname, you must ask yourself one simple question. Am I naming her from need or from choice? Because only the man who chooses can name. And only the man who names leaves a lasting mark. Naming her is the first display of power. But keeping her in that emotional space requires deeper understanding. A woman may admire you with her mind, but she only gives in with her body when something primal is triggered, something beyond logic, beyond reason. This is the second awakening in this message, and it is the one that turns on her instinct to submit sensually. A woman is not just looking for a good man, she is looking for the man who makes her surrender willingly, not from fear, but from attraction, from that masculine energy that cannot be explained, only felt. A nickname that does not flatter her, but softly leads her, touches an ancient part of her mind, a place where desire blends into surrender. It is not an insult. It is not rude. It is a key that unlocks her most vulnerable and feminine self, the part of her that wants to be guided. This kind of response is never created by a man who asks for permission. It is created by a man who shows direction. In deep psychology, this is known as a calm, dominant frame, a man who does not need to raise his voice, prove himself, or push boundaries because his presence already sets the tone. When that man calls her my little wolf, my pretty witch, or my storm, he plants a message that the female mind cannot reject. On one side, it recognizes her uniqueness. On the other, it's symbolic. Callie claims her. That tension between being seen and being led is what fuels obsession. Stoic philosophy teaches that real dominance is not about controlling others. It is about mastering the emotional response you wake up in them. When you understand this, you stop searching for cute names and start choosing strategic ones, names that do not comfort her but wake something inside her, names that quietly remind her you are not here to please her. You are here to provoke, to lead, to ignite. Understand this clearly. A woman does not surrender to the man who only brings flowers. She surrenders to the man who makes her feel delicate without breaking her, small without hurting her, desired without begging. That nickname is not playful talk. It is a silent statement that you understand her not to. Sometimes even better than she does. And when you say it, her body responds before her mind can argue. Once you understand that the nickname should dominate, not flatter, and that its true power lies in the instinctual, it is time to move deeper, because there is a thin line between what a woman desires and what she fears losing. That tension is the fuel of obsession. This is where everything begins to change. Now we talk about the nickname that reminds her she is not special, yet makes her desperate to be special to you. A woman's mind cannot stand feeling replaceable. She can accept praise. She can accept dominance. But the moment she senses that you are not clinging, something sharp wakes up inside her. It is not love. It is competition. It is the need to be chosen, the right nickname. Here should sit on the edge. It should feel like it could be used on another woman, but when you say it to her, it feels different. It carries a hidden meaning. That confusion is dangerous because it does not confirm her place and it does not remove it. It keeps her hanging. And in that emotional space, she gives more, tries harder, invests deeper. Imagine this. Everything is going well. You are talking, relaxed, confident. You casually call her my little storm. It is not cute. It is not romantic, but it carries weight. When she asks why you call her that, you smile and say nothing. Her mind begins to race. She wants to know if that name belongs only to her, but you do not answer. That uncertainty grows into obsession. What psychology calls this emotional dissonance. She likes you, but does not know where she stands. And instead of pulling away, she leans closer. Her mind wants to solve you. Her ego wants to secure what feels uncertain. If you can hold that balance without explaining yourself, without over-talking, without becoming emotional support, you stop chasing. You begin claiming emotional territory with quiet elegance before going further into the deepest layer of female des. ire. Pause for a moment. If these words are opening truths no one ever explained to you, notice it. This knowledge is not for everyone. The final understanding does not just create obsession. It brings back the respect many men believe they lost. Now we move into the most dangerous area. This is where men fail if they lack self-control. Because here you are not just dominating, you are touching he. Our emotional wound. You are stepping into a space where she does not simply want you. She surrenders without understanding why. Many men make the mistake of speaking only to a woman's surface self. The confident mask, the strong front, but every woman carries a hidden break. A place where she once felt unseen, unchosen, or unsafe. When a man instinctively names that place without exposing it, sumped. Hing big happens. The forbidden nickname here is one that feels intimate without being soft. It makes her feel seen without being exposed. It whispers, "I know you," without saying it out loud. And when that happens, she bonds deeply, often without realizing the reason. This is why words matter. Not because they are said, but because of where they land. When you speak from calm authority, our words are grounded. When your presence is stable, her nervous system relaxes and opens. She feels held without being trapped, claimed without being owned. That is the balance. That is the art. And that is why these names are forbidden. Not because they are wrong, but because they are powerful. Used without inner strength, they destroy connection. Used with mastery, they create obsession that lasts. It's far longer than beauty, attention, or effort ever could. Most men look at a woman only from the surface, from what is obvious, from what she shows the world every day. And they never reach what truly controls her. They stay focused on her smile, her confidence, her opinions, her job, her strength. They never touch what actually moves her from the inside. That emotional wound she carries quietly, the one she never talks about, the one she barely even admits to herself, let alone texts about or shares with a specialist or anyone else. That wound is hidden deep, but it controls her reactions, her desires, her fears, and her attachments. And the truth is that wound can be triggered with a single well-placed word spoken at the right moment. The mistake many men make is thinking that emotions should be avoided because they fear looking weak or soft. They think power comes from distance, silence, or emotional avoidance. But this is not about crying with her or becoming her emotional helper. This is about seeing what she hides. It is about noticing the crack behind the armor and being brave enough to name it. Not to heal it, not to fix it, but to claim it, to show her that you see the PA. RT of her she thought was invisible, a nickname that touches that wound, the one formed in her childhood, can change everything. Her insecurity, her old feeling of rejection, her fear of not being enough is not said as a joke. It is said calmly. It is said with a steady tone that mixes kindness with direction. It could sound like my fearful girl, or my little chaotic one, or my hidden one. These are not loud, they are not dramatic, they are quiet and direct, and when you say it, something breaks inside her. Not because you insulted her, but because she realizes you truly saw her. You didn't fall for the strong character she performs for the world. You didn't get distracted by the mask. You saw the part she keeps locked away. In that moment, she can no longer defend herself. Her usual defenses stop working. Her armor is pierced and her mask becomes useless with you. She feels exposed but not unsafe, seen but not judged. And this is where many men misunderstand power. The mental trap they fall into is believing they must stay cold or distant to maintain control. They believe hardness equals dominance. But real power is not hardness. Real power is depth. It is the ability to see thing in her that even she has been afraid to look at for years. When you give her a nickname that touches her emptiness, not her beauty, not her body, not her role as a woman or partner, you are telling her something without saying it directly. You are saying, I don't need you to be perfect. I don't need you to perform. I just need you to be real with me. And for a woman who has spent years being strong because she had to be, instead of by choice, that feeling becomes addictive. It feels like relief. It feels like rest. It feels like finally being allowed to put the armor down. But this is where responsibility comes in. This point demands maturity because if you touch her wound and then disappear, you don't just hurt her feelings. You leave her emotionally exposed and unprotected. The S kind of nickname is not something to use casually or playfully without awareness. It is not a trick. It is not a game. It is something you use only when you are ready to lead, not just seduce. When you are ready to hold emotional space without being drowned by it. A man who touches a wound without clarity becomes an unconscious manipulator, even if he doesn't mean to be. But a man who does it from his center, from awareness and strength, becomes unforgettable. And right here on this razor-thin line is where your true power is defined, because you are no longer trying to be liked. You are no longer trying to impress. You are deciding whether you want to leave a real mark on someone's inner world. Not with force, not with pressure, but with vision. With a word she didn't even know she needed. Until she heard it come from your lips. When you reach this point, everything changes. And now we reach the fifth point, maybe the most uncomfortable one of all. The nickname that names her not as she presents herself to the world, but as you desire her to be at this stage. It is no longer about dominating her, touching her wound, or creating mystery. It is about making one thing very clear. You re not with the woman she claims to be. You are with the woman you see beneath the mask she wears every day. For many men, this is impossible. They have been emotionally trained to accept only what is offered to them. They see only what she allows them to see. When a man calls a woman my goddess, my queen, or my world, he thinks he is praising her. But he is actually handing over his power. He is placing her above him. He is silently saying, you decide who I am to you. And from that position, desire slowly dies. What remains is duty, politeness, and eventually resentment. All that is left is emotional slavery. But when you break that pattern and without asking for permission, you call her something like my little submissive, my wild side, or my untamable need. You are not just expressing desire, you are expressing vision. You are saying, I do not care about the image you show the world. I know who you are with me, and I name you from that place. That is what disarms her. Women spend their entire lives building an identity for society. Strong, independent, capable, controlled, responsible. But that is not their deepest truth. Their deepest truth appears where. And a man does not fall for the character, but for the emotional animal underneath it all. The part that wants to let go, the part that wants to give up control, but only to someone who is stable enough to hold it. If you manage to see that part of her and give it a name, you become something she cannot control, and everything a woman cannot control slowly becomes her obsession. The most common mistake men make is trying to fit into her story. They accept only her logical story about herself. They treat her like an executive, a mother, a modern woman, and they forget that beneath